See rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. Call and order your Nano hearing aids right now and get all the benefits of being able to hear again without having to spend thousands.
Call 800-226-2107. That's 800-226-2107.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Call now and get this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. And if you call right now, as a bonus, we'll throw in a free annuity rate report. Don't miss out on this opportunity.
Welcome to Media Exposed. This week, we're going to take a look at Elon derangement syndrome. Seems like every week there's not something else. They're going after Elon. They want to portray him as the co-president. Let's see what they're doing this week against him. Also, I've noticed these town halls popping up in congressional district. Are they real? Are they manufactured? Are they actors? We're going to do a deep dive into that. Also, we're going to take a look at the Senate. What are they up to these days that they're scrambling to fight each other? And we're also going to look at, a couple of things in the entertainment industry. Alec Baldwin was on the red carpet recently, and he's got a reality show. We're going to look at that and his wife. What is she up to? That and more are coming up on Media Exposed.
Do you dare to follow me down?
What they do say is fake news.
Head into the unknown.
That's how devious the media's become. They're full force activists now.
They colluded. Trump folks were in on it.
Down the rabbit hole.
Sways elections, sways policy. We need to expose them.
Republicans trash the country.
Where it stops, no one knows. We're going.
I've been doing this since I was 18. I've had hit jobs done against me. I've been attacked by media reporters. Am I afraid? No. Truth will prevail. Fake news media, we're here to call you out.
Head into the unknown.
Media Exposed with Adam Weiss starts now.
Welcome back to Media Exposed. There's so much infighting from the media still that this bubble was such a new landscape that even on CNN every night there's this humble guy, Scott Jennings, who's like the poster boy, the contributor for the Republican side. And he's usually calm, but I saw something that made him bombastic the other day. I want to welcome my guest on the set here, David Zier, host of Breaking Point on Real America's Voice. I also want to welcome Cindy Gross. She's the host of Right for America on WGBB and at the America First Warehouse. Cindy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I don't see enough of you guys, even though we have the America First Warehouse as a home. But it's good to see you, and a very timely topic to discuss. So
I saw this coming out of CNN because you had sit around every night and there's 6 against 1 or 5 against 2. And what I want to show you this first cut, Cindy, and it's Scott Jennings, and he goes for the slam dunk. And Neera Tandy, who's very big in the progressive movement, go back at it. Let's take a look at this clip here, cut 1.
Doubtful it's Republicans attacking Tesla dealerships around the country. It's pretty wild, actually. The other night, Donald Trump said these are domestic terrorists. Everybody laughed about it and scoffed at it. That video looks like terrorism to me. I mean, it's obviously an organized, coordinated effort, however people are communicating with each other, to do this to people around the country who chose to buy a Tesla at some point in the past, many of whom I'm sure are Democrats who bought them in the first place, all because their entire political worldview is ruled by their emotions. And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous. It is terrorism. People ought to be put in jail and left there for a very long time and be taught a lesson.
So when they do it to a Tesla dealer,
it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them. Is that your position?
No, I've never. I don't
Are
support,
we okay with the
I know
January 6th pardons?
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me educate you.
No, you don't need to patronize
you don't need to.
me.
You don't need to be condescending to me. So let me educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me finish. Let me finish.
Let's do this. January 6th and then near.
I'm sorry you're getting emotional.
I'm sorry you're a condescending person who hasn't been paying attention to what I do.
But like, I don't know why Scott had to say, you don't know my position in January 6th. I don't remember any fire burnings in January 6th, any Molotov cocktails. We heard 1,000 times, Cindy, it was an insurrection. But what kind of insurrection is when nobody had guns, rifles, bombs, but yet they criticize it? And it seems like those anchors, although they don't say it, they're almost happy that this violence is going on towards Tesla and the car dealerships, smirking. They had mental breakdowns when it was January 6th. They had mental breakdowns when there's a little kid, I can't remember his name, sitting on the Capitol with the Indian chop. Remember they accused this kid. He won a big lawsuit because he was just standing with a smirk.
The Catholic school.
So do you see, Cindy, just want to get your thoughts on the hypocrisy when Elon, we got car dealerships lit on fire, we got cars being burned, and the media just kind of just sits there. What do you think of this?
Well, first of all, if you notice, that seat used to be by Abby Phillip. CNN, MSNBC, they don't know what to do anymore because the Democratic numbers of support are going downhill every day. And meanwhile, Scott Jennings' name is being thrown around all over for 2028 and all kinds of positions in the Trump administration. So bravo to him and bravo to the others that attempt to sit at these tables. I try to do it. I mean, I have a double whammy. I'm a Republican and I'm a Jew. So I get this all the time and I understand it as the U.S. patriot, someone who has supported Donald Trump now through 3 different campaigns. But I will say one thing to you, that we are winning, because if that kind of action and words have to go on at CNN and it's going on at all the other places that often, the people are there. Just look how many anchors are leaving in top positions, people that have been, quote unquote, the liberal media institutions. So I think that they are loving this because they're trying anything they can to get ratings. But as you see, it doesn't matter what they try. We're beating them all over the place, whether or not it's Fox or the New Outlet.
There's a big change in the media, and there's a big change in Hollywood, too. I saw this clip going viral that Alec Baldwin was on the red carpet, David, with his wife, and she was really insensitive, I would say. Not only that, very disrespectful. Someone who's the father of 7 of their children. And let's take a cut of this. I didn't even know that. And then after that, I found out that a reality show, but kind of after you watch this, it kind of makes sense. Now it makes a little more sense why Alec is kind of nasty to reporters and people in the public. Usually, if you watch this and you have to live with this, maybe it makes sense. Let's go to cut 2.
It's gonna be great. You're a winner. Oh my God! When I'm talking, you're not talking. No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why. Yes, we'll have to just cut him out of the show. It's gonna be great. You're a winner. Oh my God! When I'm talking, you're not talking. No, when I'm talking, you're not talking.
That's David. That's wild. That's like A-list celebrities being talked to on a red carpet in New York City.
If I had 7 kids with Alec Baldwin, I'd be in a bad mood also. And she and Hilaria, they call her Hilaria. Her real name's Hillary Hayward Thomas. She was brought up in a rich suburb in Boston, and she's been called out.
Oh, I thought she worked in a bodega, and she was Hispanic.
She conveniently forgets words in English sometimes, raising eyebrows among people about our authenticity here. I did watch a reality show, though. It's not too bad, about their 7 kids ago. I just wanted to add, don't mess with a Tesla. There's 7 cameras on it. And also, CNN, they tried to fact check Scott Jennings a week ago with Van Jones about the Trump claim that transgender mice studies they were spending $8 million on, and it blew up in their face. So they're just committed to
anti-Trump, anti-Musk thing, whatever. Do you think this was a setup to get their reality? reality show better numbers, Cindy? Because the reality show's getting bleak numbers, like 500,000 viewers on TLC, but maybe this was their ploy. But how do you think? That's very disrespectful. I was saying, could you imagine if a male disrespected A-list celebrity wife that way? Man, he would be criticized. He'd be run out of town, right? If it was the reverse, what do you think?
Well, let's put it this way. Bravo TV's numbers are dismal, and people are tired of these reality people who don't really respect the people that actually support them and actually make their paychecks realistic. Also, just think about, we've had the Oscars, we had the Grammys. No one even talks about them. No one's interested in these movies. No one remembers who won what. The entertainment field is gone. Coming strong are family-oriented movies, faith-based movies, and people who have respect and honestly feel an allegiance to America.
It's a combination of, we're a society of short reels. Everything's short these days. Plus, Hollywood's disrespected middle America, and a lot, big portions of America so long. I think they just tune it out now these days. But another thing I wanted to touch is the lunacy, and they're constantly, let's show this photo of Dylan Mulvaney. It's from the London Times. And what's what they say here? People say my version of womanhood is too much. I don't know why they celebrate. She was a disaster for Bud Light. She's on a book tour now. She or he, we want to say. We're not afraid to say she/he. That's two pronouns into one. But the media still seems to celebrate it. You know, America's sick of this stuff. And hopefully and I just saw somebody won a championship today again. So it's this trans craziness is not over yet. And also we have, I want to get your final thoughts and tell us what you have coming up on your show later this week, Cindy. Quick final thoughts.
So my final thoughts are the latest approval ratings for Donald Trump are really good, higher than they were when he was 45. People are loving the women in his cabinet. Not only are they attractive, not only do they come from all areas of the country, but they are smart. And that's what people want to see. They want to see people who actually do their job respected.
Cindy, thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks.
Coming up, the mainstream media are up in arms in support over gangsters here illegally throughout the country. The media is taking the sides of that. Very strange. But next, everything you need to know about this left's collusion, the media, and the Republican town halls across the country. That and more coming up on Media Exposed.
This is our last chance to help save thousands of Holocaust survivors who are suffering in the former Soviet Union today. The needs that these forgotten Jews have are something beyond anything you can imagine.
Have you eaten this morning?
I ate the carrot, so I ate half of it yesterday, and I had it today for breakfast. And this is what she ate in 2 days, 1 carrot. Please pray for me.
The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews began this ministry to help elderly Jews living in horrible poverty around the world. We urgently need your gift of $25 now to help provide 1 survival food box with all of the foods they critically need for their diet for 1 month.
I am very proud to partner and align with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. This trusted ministry is giving Christians like me a way to bless elderly Jewish people who live in extreme poverty around the world.
I believe in God, but I sometimes feel maybe He forgot me. Perhaps you could tell my story, and I would find a matching soul that would understand. I face hunger again.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now to help rush 1 survival food box to a Holocaust survivor who is suffering and in desperate need.
This is what God wants from us. Just feed the hungry.
If you hear God's voice, I'm asking you to act now. Do it when it's on your heart. I pray that they'll know in their final months that they're not alone.
When a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name, it's a race against time to stop the theft of your hard-earned equity.
Many people don't know this has happened until long after it's done.
You as the homeowner think you still own a house. 3 months later, you start getting foreclosure notices and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim at HomeTitleLock.com.
What if you could tackle your dog's itching, mushy poops, and low energy? Millions of pet parents are raving about Dr. Marty Nature's Blend.
Such a huge difference in her health. More energy, more playful, no more pooping issues.
I'm Dr. Marty. I've been a veterinarian for more than 50 years. The dangerous ingredients added to many pet foods could be impacting your dog's lifespan. That's why I formulated Nature's Blend.
Now you can feed your dog wholesome cuts of real meat, vegetables, and fruit with no artificial preservatives or fillers. Try Dr. Marty risk-free. Go to drmartypets.com/TV.
You know, the left can't win on policy, so they stage these fake town halls. These aren't real grassroots events. They're orchestrated by radical leftist groups to ambush Republican lawmakers and create a negative media headlines. They're packed the room with activists, not real constituents. We know who the real constituents are. All to push anti-American agenda, fake outrage, real collusion. These setups are part of a well-coordinated scheme between leftist operatives and the media. The playbook is simple. Manufacture an angry crowd, get the sound bites you want against the congressman, and then the fake news outlets will pick it up, and it will decrease the popularity, and it'll verbitate throughout the country. It's political theater, nothing more. You show up to these town halls, and what do you find? A bunch of pre-selected activists, pro-Ukraine, radical trans activists, not everyday Americans, not everyday Nebraskans. The media eats it up because it fits their agenda. This isn't democracy, it's deception. The left, the media, and their puppets in Congress are all on the scheme, but they're losing control of the narrative. America's first is winning. The American people are waking up. Voters aren't buying the left's media manufactured rage. The more they try to control the narrative with these setups, the more people see through the lies. Real Americans stand with leaders who fight for them, not stage mobs. David, I want to make Dave joining us in the set again. Dave, thank you. Dave, I saw this tweet early in the week about Nancy Mace. She said, I'm not going to this town hall. I was like, that was smart. She said fake news, right? She put it up on a tweet. And I said, that is interesting. And I said, what? It wasn't her. And usually when congressmen, it's 400, 500 and something, 32 congressmen, they create town halls. It's their town hall. People don't create the town halls and demand the congressman to show up. So what the left is doing, reversing the order of the town hall to try to get them to come. And if they do come, it's a setup. And what I want to do is before we continue, I want to watch what happens when they do come. Let's go to cut 3. Congressman Mike Flood from Nebraska.
I support Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency.
Those are boos from tonight in Nebraska, in Republican Congressman Mike Flood's district, which is a deep, deep, deep red district. 58 days into the second Trump presidency, and voters are furious about Elon Musk, and they're scared about their Social Security benefits.
What are your plans to cut Social Security?
I want to be this is a very easy question for me to answer. So, as you know, we are in the process of reconciliation, budget reconciliation. Under the federal law, any changes to Social Security are not on the table, and I will not cut your Social Security. It is a promise.
But yeah, David, you see what they did? They set him up when he said, I support Elon. Then they booed him to death. Then they went after, they asked a question that came from the left, right? The question was, what are you going to do with our Social Security? That's a left-wing talking point question. So then those sound bites went to MSNBC, went to Mediaite, went to other sites. So exactly what the left wanted, the Nebraskan congressman played into their hands. And I saw a local congressman here in Long Island, Nick Lota. He put out an email and said something called the Communist Party of Long Island asked him to come to a town hall. He says, it's fake. I'm not going here. So
Well, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, said don't go to these town halls. And Nick LaLota is right for saying that, just like Nancy Mace. And I'll get into her Charleston district down there in the 1st District of South Carolina that she won by 17 points. She doesn't need to go to these things. They're all staged. CNN's headline there on the lower third was CNN frustrators voted around the country, right? And then the AP says 200 people converged on Eastern Nebraska High School for a cacophony of jeers and boos and angry demands for answers. And Mike Flood getting booed in a district that voted 3-1 for Trump. It's so staged, and it's got to change. And I got stuff for you on Chuck Edwards in Asheville, North Carolina, too.
I want to hear about that. But they even, you notice at MSNBC, Ali Velshi, she said it was, hardcore red district getting booed because it manufactured and fake was all old people screaming out of nowhere. It was so fake and staged. And I'm glad the Republicans are standing and not playing into this, little charade that they're creating. And tell us about this other guy.
Yeah, well, Chuck Edwards was in Asheville, North Carolina. He won against Madison Cawthorn. He won by 37% of the vote in the primary in 2022. And he took over there, and it's the Asheville area. And one of the areas he did well in is Buncombe County, which can be very liberal. Asheville is the San Francisco of the Southeast. I was there in August covering a Trump rally before the hurricane. I was just disgusted how filthy it was, how many drug addicts are in the street, how many homeless. These people want to defund the police. They want reparations. It's the rich, go down there. They're all like, there's a lot of money down there. And they suffered a lot during the hurricane. It's terrible. So these people are already in a bad mood. Why would you accept to go to a town hall in this environment? Audience members were screaming, we're living in a fascist coup. Fascist coup and all this stuff. And, you could tell just by the way the people asked the questions that they were sent there to do it. Very bad move. And, just to touch on Nancy Mace, and she's in liberal Charleston, right? Which voted for Kamala Harris by 5.5 points over Donald Trump, but she still won her district, which Charleston is encompassed within the 1st District down in South Carolina. I spent a lot of time down there for the network. And she won by 17 points. So she was smart in rejecting the town hall stuff because, you're walking into a firestorm.
So she outpaced Trump by 22 points. Trump lost the district?
Yeah.
She won it by 17?
Yeah. She outpaced Trump. That's a good point. 22 points.
Oh, she's very popular. I hear she wants to run for governor. And she stands up, and she's been fighting the trans issue recently hard, and she's been standing up and very smart on how to call out these fake things, fake town halls, because even I didn't play with Mike Flood from the Nebraska district. They were complaining about Ukraine. I'm like, what in the middle of Nebraska? They're like whining about the Ukraine.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
About
like they
Zelensky
right.
in Omaha. Well, maybe Omaha, but the rest of the state.
In the red Nebraska, they're diehard Ukrainian stalwarts. Like, this whole thing doesn't make sense. But while we're in a different era, David, what I like about the Republicans fighting, Mike Johnson gets it. Other Republicans are getting it. In the past, they'd get sucked into this. The media would go off on them, and it would be this revolt against them. And already they'd be doing polls. What do you think about the local congressman, their agenda, and how much are they aligned with Elon Musk? They're not playing into it. They're not playing into the left's hand. They're not playing into the media's hand. So it's a smarter GOP sailing across, because usually during what happens, we notice always during the first, when a president wins and a Congress wins, that next cycle isn't usually good for the ruling party. But I think they're holding a steady hand, right?
Well, yeah, maybe. I wanted to add, Chuck Edwards was a little meek during that town hall. He didn't stand up and fight, but Mike Flood did, and he went on CNN and said, listen, I was getting booed just for saying I want to balance the budget. But it's always a trap. I've been going to public hearings for like 37 years, in business and in politics and, for projects and all these other things, in construction and legislation, speaking. And there's always an organized effort on the left. I spoke out against these tax map verification fee increases in my local county, and I did an email to 10,000 business owners, and only 3 of us showed up. But the left had 50 people there, people who are out of work. They don't have to work. They don't own businesses, and it's always the way it is. There's always,
there's very few, you and I have always been activists and entrepreneurs at the same time, but the left seems more mobilized always. Why is that? They're more into government because government pays their bills.
Because they're not opening the gates for their crews at 5 a.m.
And they don't
work.
And they're not as busy. Entrepreneurs are busy building businesses, paying employees, taking care of their families. They're not worried about going to a local Chamber of Commerce or civic association and ranting and raving. But the left, that's their mission in life, because they don't believe, a lot of them don't believe in family, God, country, right? So what becomes their passion?
Well, it's like Chuck Schumer.
Government becomes their passion.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer.
Oh, yeah, we saw that Chuck Schumer. We talked about this earlier. Wanted to show you this, talk about this. He was on The View early in the week, and he said, how dare you, these people they talk about entrepreneurship, they talk about growing, they talk about, less government. And they went off, and maybe some of the other things you remember. What did he say, Chuck? Did you see that in The View?
Yeah, it was terrible. But this is what the Democrats think of you, Adam. The businesses that people have built and people would never ask anything from anybody. Like Obama said, you didn't build that. Chuck Schumer said the same thing. They hate you. They hate you. And most business owners don't have pensions and 401ks and life insurance and Cadillac health insurance. And these public sector employees are retiring, with like A-Rod style contracts sometimes where you're making 50, 100, 150,000 in your pension. You get health care for life. And we don't understand that language if you're in small business. We can't even relate to that. So they have contempt for you. They hate you. But this is the people that they recruit. Around, they don't have everything at stake like the guy who owns a curtain store or installs floors for a living or is an HVAC contractor, or drives a cab. These people have a lot of time on their hands, and that's who's coming out. That's who's keying the Tesla cars. It's a big pack of losers.
And they would go off on Elon. And early in the week, look what Elon did. He saved the astronauts. Front page of the Post. They decided to, and Biden was asleep at the wheel, didn't go save him. And the media can't even thank Elon and his ingenuity, his brilliancy in saving astronauts and doing so much good for the world. But that's what we have on the left. And that's the brilliance of this man, right?
Yeah. It's a modern tragedy how they're treating Elon Musk. But I think history will reflect different.
So up next, we're going to talk about illegals, the violence, and the gang members. Seems like the media is taking their side. What is that? Why is that? That and more coming up on Media Exposed.
Prices are going up everywhere. Did you know that the costs associated with auto repairs cost Americans on average $7,500? And let's face it, when it comes to those costs, it's not if you'll need repairs, it's when. Now more than ever, you can't afford to be driving without Ox Car Care. Because with A+ rated Ox, you don't pay for repairs on your car, truck, or SUV. Ox pays.
I really love Ox Car Care because right now I can't afford the costly repairs, and I definitely cannot afford to be without a car.
With Ox, I can take my car to my dealership just like I always have, and they'll take care of everything.
Call the number on your screen right now for a free quote. There's no obligation to find out how low your monthly payments can be. Our Ox Car Care family of customer service reps, coverage specialists, and claims adjusters are all under one roof right here in the U.S. to ensure you always get top quality service from a caring company that stands behind everything we do. And we are the administrators of your claim. We don't farm out your policies somewhere else.
In the past, I had a really bad experience. I was passed around from phone number to phone number just to file a claim. But with Ox, it's just one phone call, one company, and they handle everything.
Today, it's just too risky not to have coverage. And Ox, they make it easy.
Call Ox now and let them pay for your auto repairs. Act now, and Ox will even include free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance.
Ox Car Care is like family. I didn't just feel like a customer, I also felt part of the family.
Just call Ox Car Care now with your make and model and get a free, no obligation instant quote. But don't wait, or it'll be too late. You need coverage before a repair is needed. Call Ox Car Care right now.
Call 1-800-691-0754 to get a free quote today. That's 1-800-691-0754. Or go online now at oxcarcare.com.
I made millions stealing homes before I went to prison. And if your home's title is unprotected, it's only a matter of time before a criminal like the old me targets you. Your home's title is wide open online, just waiting to be stolen. All it takes is a forged signature, a notary stamp you can buy online, and a few minutes at the recorder's office. Suddenly, your title is gone. They'll sell your home, take out loans, and drain your equity, leaving you with the mess. That's why I tell everyone about Home Title Lock.
Their exclusive $1 million triple lock protection gives you 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts for any changes, and if fraud happens, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix it and restore your title at no additional cost. Find out if you're already a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. You'll receive a free title history report and access to your personal title expert, a $250 value just for signing up. That's HomeTitleLock.com.
Welcome back to Media Explode. The fake news media is melting down over Venezuelan gang members, believe it or not. They're getting deported. Give me a break why they care so much. Since when do we need defend violent criminals? These are MS-13, murderers, rapists, the trendy Ragwar thugs, terrorists they are basically. They came here illegally to hurt Americans, bring drugs, and now the media wants us to feel sorry for them. No way. Biden's open borders let millions upon millions in. Now they cry when we send them back. You can see the videos. These gang members walk right into our country thanks to the Democrats' disastrous policies. Now they're getting kicked out and the left can't stand it. I don't know why. They thought maybe with these open border illegal immigrants, they can control the American government and turn them into voters forever. The media doesn't care about American victims. I never saw them care about murderous victims when they were people were losing their lives over drugs, murders. Have you seen them shed a tear for those Americans killed or raped or attacked? Nope. Only cry when we clean up the streets. Real leaders put America's first, stronger border, stronger law enforcement, deport every single illegal criminal gang member. Trump did it before and he'll do it again. He is doing it. This isn't about human rights, about power. The left loves this chaos. They want these gangs to stay here to destabilize the cities, the towns, and chaos into America. But the Americans are done playing with it, playing for it. MAGA is taking our country back. I want to welcome next guest, Katie Zachariah. Katie is a political strategist, and welcome back, Katie.
Thank you.
Katie, I want to touch on this stuff, but before I do that, I saw Michelle Obama launched a podcast recently, just maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson, her brother. And why I found this interesting, because it was flooded in the media. It was what we all would say in the media business. It was so much free advertising, so much free publicity, millions and millions of dollars. I looked down today and it was long. Her latest podcast was yesterday with Seth Rogen, and they had 17,000 views. I'm like, and she's talking about dementia, Hollywood, and their livelihoods. It was nothing that could related to the American people in middle America. And what is it with someone who grew up? She didn't grow up in elite society. She grew up and worked her way to the top, worked her way in American citizens. She's worth $70 million now. But why can't these elitists now relate to the American people? What do you think is wrong with someone like a Michelle Obama? She just can't relate and can't draw numbers like most of the people in middle and libertarian and the right can. Why do you think is that? Because you're out west too. And she flew out west with her brother to do the podcast with Seth Rogen and others.
Yes, and did she join Gavin Newsom out here on his podcast as well? It seems to be a growing trend of these politicians or failed politicians to start a podcast to get support. I also want to note that 17,000 viewers, right? People would have criticized President Trump. That's about half of his regular attendance at his rallies. I mean, he was getting between 35, 40,000 sometimes people showing up at his rallies. And that's not online. So I think that the Michelle Obamas, the Gavin Newsoms, they're out of touch with middle America. And I think that's even more symptomatic when you look at the press and the support of all of the illegal gang members being deported, and they're upset about that. It's so out of touch with what matters to Americans. And I think Michelle Obama starting a podcast is, again, trying to get people to listen to her, trying to get support back in the Democrat Party, trying to humanize themselves, when really they just continue to show how far out of touch they are.
It's like when they tell Tim Walz, David, to be tough, and he just doesn't know how to do it because it's not authentic, right? So it doesn't work with them because they're not authentic, they're not real. And all because you could say, hey, left, let's do the same thing the conservatives did or the middle America did and the comedians did and start a podcast. Well, it's not going to work if you're not authentic. You're not going to get an audience, right?
The left can't connect with Americans because there's no grassroots, mainstream. There's no message there. It's like Air America was on the radio to compete with Rush Limbaugh 35 years ago. It lasted for 8 weeks. You can't manufacture interest from the guy who's driving in a pickup truck to the job site to and fro every day. And you're not connecting with the regular people. Joe Rogan can connect with regular people. Donald Trump can connect with regular people, but the left can't because they're elites. And, Michelle Obama did come from kind of a working class family in Chicago. But remember, she had a job in the mayor's office. She got put in the hospital system, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to reject people for health care in the black community. She was, she's out of touch. And nobody cares. And nobody cares about our message.
Then we take a look at this video here I want to show you. It's CBS Evening News. They got two new anchors here, John Dickerson and Maurice Dubois, who is legendary anchor from New York, and they compare the original Irish immigrants to being deported to, the Venezuelan gang members. Let's take a look at this cut 4 here. Look.
On this St. Patrick's Day, as millions of Americans celebrate their Irish heritage, recent events remind us that the Irish were among the first immigrants to be targeted in deportation crackdowns.
In the mid-1800s, New York and Massachusetts enforced policies to have Irish immigrants rounded up and deported.
The American Civil Liberties Union didn't exist then, but if it had, it may have taken the legal position it is taking now, suing the Trump administration to stop what it considers to be the illegal deportation over the weekend of more than 200 migrants to El Salvador.
They're so slick because they, not once in that little 40-second clip or whatever it was, they said it's gang leaders, rapists, murderers. That's who they're bringing out first. And they just said, look, they're comparing the original Irish to migrants, and not migrants. They can't be truthful to the media, but that's what they've gotten. It's gotten so desperate, so they have to make these little stretches here. Did you notice that, Katie?
Yes, they're trying to make people feel connected to the Tren de Aragua criminals, right? They're saying,
but they're not even mentioning that they were criminals in that.
No, they don't. And what's troubling is that most people are not digging into the fact that these people are criminals. And President Trump did deliver on his promise. And I want to highlight that the Democrat Party is at an all-time low. You have CNN ratings, you have NBC ratings saying they're at 27% approval rating, while President Trump just received the highest approval rating I think that he's ever had in both terms. And that is because he's delivering on what the American people wanted. They want safe cities. They want these criminals deported. They want availability and access for American citizens. Let's talk about that for a second, right? What happened with California? Medi-Cal is bankrupt because of illegal immigrants. Gavin Newsom opened the floodgates for every illegal immigrant to come to California and get free health care. And now he's begging for a $3.4 billion loan for Medi-Cal. And so now California citizens who who are paying taxes don't get access to health care, but illegal immigrants do. This isn't even the gang members. These are just, our whole system is flooded, and we can't take care of everyone around the country. And that's why we voted for Donald Trump.
There was a radical, law put into effect by the New York City Council to allow illegal immigrants to vote, 800,000 of them. They thought they would just keep, the Democrats in power in the state. And the state Supreme Court today voted that down 6-1. And what was the majority, David, of Democrats on that court said it's nowhere in the Constitution.
Yeah, so
illegal immigrants cannot vote.
It wasn't really about illegal immigrants. It was about non-citizens in New York City. There's about 800,000 of them, people who are here from other countries who are here legally. But then again, if you're accepting illegals in and then giving them status and giving them welfare benefits and other things, can they make the case that they're here legally, right? So that's where the gravitation was going. But thank God the New York State Court of Appeals shot it down.
Yeah, let's take a look at NBC, how they're justifying. They still think we want to stand with illegals. Cut 5. Watch this, Katie.
Justice Department has until noon Eastern today to answer key questions about the deportation of migrants to El Salvador without due process. A DOJ lawyer in court stonewalling the federal judge who was demanding answers about how many deportation flights there were and how many were in the air at the time of his ruling. Critics warn the Trump administration right now appears to be intentionally ignoring court orders blocking those flights. This morning, the Trump administration's battle with the courts ramping up.
We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
With a tense hearing late Monday after the White House's decision to deport more than 130 alleged gang members from Venezuela to a prison in El Salvador over the weekend, despite a judicial order to halt the flights. A judge ordering first in a verbal order, then in a written one, that the flight should not leave. The White House arguing the planes had already taken off.
All of the planes that were subject to the written order, the judge's written order, took off before the order was entered in the courtroom.
The White House is claiming authority for the deportation.
It's amazing how NBC just is playing defense and for this liberal activist suing the judge, and taking the judge's side when obviously they always do. When it's a conservative judge, man, he gets hammered. Give me your final thoughts on that, Katie.
Well, these judges are what I like to call rogue imperial judges. And what I mean is that they are deciding law for the entire nation against the president's power. They're trying to usurp his executive authority, what we all voted for, and make unilateral decisions that affect everyone. And I think there has to be a wider investigation into the United States District Court for the District of Columbia on these judges particularly, but also that any kind of judge that can take this kind of authority from the president, or at least do so in the short term, the system is broken if this is what it comes down to. So yeah. I believe that we're going to see this.
The system wasn't created, David, for local district judges to create injunctions on every issue. Katie, thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Take care, Katie.
Yeah, right. So coming up next, we're going to desperate left who likes to build themselves as do-gooders for the world. Surprised by they're turning to radical violence against one, the only, who they like to call co-president, Elon Musk. That and more coming up.
Wounded Warrior Project empowers post-9/11 veterans and their families with life-changing programs and services.
I realized I could be successful in a civilian career.
We stand by warriors and advocate for their needs going forward.
They were by my side in the hospital, and they're still with me today.
Through our programs, community, and advocacy, we're proving
anything is possible.
Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/connect.
The FBI calls it house stealing, the latest scam where a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name and steals your hard-earned equity.
It's roughly 60 to 90 days for that person to even figure out that they're the victim of this crime. You start getting foreclosure notices, and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
Unfortunately, it's on you to protect yourself. You might already be a victim. Check your title status now at HomeTitleLock.com.
What if you could tackle your dog's itching, paw licking, mushy poops, and low energy with a simple 3-minute change to their diet? Millions of pet parents are raving about Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, the anti-kibble breakthrough that's helping dogs act like puppies again.
Such a huge difference in her health. More energy, more playful, no more pooping issues.
He's healthier, he looks better. This is my way more energetic dog.
I'm Dr. Marty. I've been a veterinarian for more than 50 years. The dangerous ingredients added to many pet foods could be impacting your dog's lifespan. That's why I formulated Nature's Blend.
Now you can feed your dog wholesome cuts of real meat, vegetables, and fruit with no artificial preservatives or fillers. Unlike fresh food, Nature's Blend is gently freeze-dried. This means extraordinary health benefits, but with zero prep, zero fridge, and zero mess.
I just feed her right out of the bag. She's obsessed with this food. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
And for a limited time, get up to 54% off with our special TV offer. Call or go to drmartypets.com/TV.
If anyone has told you that gaining weight, feeling tired, and joint issues is just a part of getting older, they are wrong. My name is Dr. Stephen Gundry, and I found a new way to support my health. It's called BioComplete 3. BioComplete 3 works by restoring your gut health from the inside out. This is working for everybody.
I was 270. I'm now 140. It just feels amazing.
You can try BioComplete 3 risk-free for 90 days. Go to guthealthsecret.com.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with Rice Robot, the 1, 2, 3 rice cooker. Watch, 1 add the white cup for rice, 2 add the blue cup for water, 3 click it and let Rice Robot perfectly cook it. The secret is perfect cook technology for even cooking. Then Rice Robot senses when it's done, auto stops and keeps it warm to serve. It won't burn, overcook or undercook, guaranteed.
Get the complete Rice Robot cooking system, all for just $39.99. Order now.
Welcome back to Media Exposed. The radical left is unhinged. Democrats claim to be the party of empathy, but they're firebombing Tesla dealerships. We're up to almost 30 around the country. And attempting assassinations, total lawlessness. Who is funding this terror? These reckless individuals, these reckless criminals. If this really exposes the left's violent war on innovation. This is coordinated. This is insanity. Remember, they were the party for the Green Deal. They were so into electric cars, but all of a sudden it's Elon and the president. Nope, we want violence. Someone needs to tell the mainstream media to stop focusing on the smears. Look at what Elon Musk just did. While Democrats were firebombing Tesla's dealerships, SpaceX just rescued 2 astronauts. Biden abandoned in space. NASA gets $25 billion a year and failed. Musk say that if Musk were a liberal, darling, the media would call him a hero, a saint. They ignore his achievements and push lies because he won't bow to their agenda. The radical left is full meltdown mode over Social Security checks going to dead people. It's such a simple thing. You're dead, we're not paying you. And they're even taking the side of dead people. But guess what? This is just another example of the incompetence for years. They've left government waste run wild while taxpayers foot the bill. We'll introduce Dennis Neal, our next guest, host of What's Bugging Me podcast on Ricochet, and author of the book, The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk. Dennis, it seems like we're doing these Elon Chronicles every week. There's so much fodder. And you mentioned before, one of these times, even the late night comedians are roasting Elon and seem to be happy or joyous that they're getting claps, almost suggesting violence. Imagine that was against the left. If a conservative did that, comedian, if a Greg Gutfeld did that, what do you think the outcry would be from the mainstream bubble media?
Yeah, they'd want to string him up by his thumbs. You've got everyone from Jimmy Kimmel to a host of The Daily Show the other night who actually had the audience kind of clapping, and every time he came out with another arson or another gunshots fired at another dealership, et cetera. And now this has gone retail, right? We've got individual virtue signaling libs walking past Teslas in parking lots and keying them and scraping the paint job, unaware that the typical Tesla has 9 cameras recording this act, and then it runs on X, which means these people soon will be probably arrested, charged with vandalism, and they'll lose their jobs. Their entire lives will be upturned by a few moments of wanting to be a big man and look at me, I'm so good because I'm keying this Tesla. When did Elon Musk and Tesla become the enemy simply because they're cutting spending. And that's because the enemy is being funded by the very people who are losing money because of Elon's Doge effort by Elon and Trump, right? So and the Democrats, I only saw one tweet on X from Senator Mark Kelly, the former astronaut, the guy who just traded in his Tesla for 2 big gas-guzzling Chevy trucks, apparently. And he tweeted saying, those assaults on Tesla dealerships are wrong and they're bad. That's the only Democrat I've seen say one word in condemning these acts, right?
And Tim Walz stood up on a stage. He's on the Tim Walz. It should be a comedy tour, but somehow he thinks he's going to be a serious candidate. And he's putting down, he said, I have this stock trading app, and I'm so happy that Tesla went down to X amount of dollars. Yeah. Meanwhile, he's got 3%. He got a nice portion of money into his pension fund. So he's cheerleading Tesla going down. This putz doesn't even realize there's money in his pension fund.
And nurses and firefighters own that stock. Never be happy for the destruction of value, the destruction of wealth, and that this has happened at the hands of an orchestrated, coordinated protest that amounts to domestic terrorism. It is just an outrage, and it is unbelievable. And as to who's financing a lot of this, this week another story broke, guys. Gabe Kaminsky, former Washington Examiner investigative reporter who just jumped over to the Free Press, I believe, with Barry Weiss, okay? Gabe Kaminsky came out with a story showing that there's some group called Families Over Billionaires or something, but it is in reality funded by a group called Arabella Advisors that is itself the proxy of a bunch of billionaires that are funding all of these efforts to oppose the Trump agenda. And you've got George Soros in there, and you've got Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. And there's just, it's all connected, and it is a concerted effort, guys, to topple our government, to make sure they don't get anything done. And now it feels like federal judges are playing along with it.
David, there's like a mental disease with these people on the left that they've gone to the extent of burning cars, not even thinking, wait, I'm going to get 5 years, 10 years. I could be in jail for 20 years for doing this kind of vandalism. But the left has become so mental over the last decade under Donald Trump that they're almost encouraged to do this, or they paid good portions of money. There's a sickness here that somehow I thought it might be cured a little bit under the second Trump presidency, but this is getting worse, right? Yeah, well, now they're in a quandary, the left, because now I thought they were concerned about the environment, and lithium ion fumes are going up into the atmosphere. But CNN, while we're exposing the media here, CNN saying gravity finally catching up with Elon Musk as Tesla stocks tumble. They should be throwing a parade for Elon for his space rescue efforts down the Canyon of Heroes. But, Tesla is up 727% over the last 5 years, the stock. It's only taken a 35% or 37% hit, in the last month or two. They're making it like, oh, he's losing everything, but you would have made 7 times your money if you invested 5 years ago. And since when did you see these liberal media outlets so into stocks, right? All of a sudden now they're so into worrying about stocks up and down, business stocks, because it's Elon, right? I just want to add, how many teachers' pensions are in those Tesla stocks?
Exactly.
Right.
And more than that, guys, why the protests against Tesla? Because Tesla is run by Elon Musk. And why then the protests against Elon Musk? What is he doing that's so bad? They're cutting government waste. He wants to cut only $1 trillion in annual spending. The government spends $7 trillion. That's 14%. That's survivable. But look at the vitriol and the hate. And it's because these protesters are paid to be there. They are paid by the billionaires and the NGOs that are afraid of losing their largesse.
Right. The same NGOs that are going to lose these millions and millions of dollars are devious enough to pay individuals that need it. And I bet you there's certain way we're going to find these certain sites. They used to pay people, and you could find it on Craigslist, and they'd hire all these paid agitators in different cities under the first Trump administration. So how do they always have such great, protests? The left always do as well. Cash will do anything, right? But who defend, Dennis, dead people? He says, I'm cutting Social Security and dead people, the payrolls, and they're even against dead people, not paying dead people.
Right. They just deleted the names of people who are more than 124 years old. And there were, I don't know, thousands and thousands of them. You know, Elon recently tweeted and he said, we found 390 million Social Security, he said recipients of payments, but I think he meant just accounts registered, 390 million in a nation that has 330 million people. And probably 20 million are illegal aliens. So it's just fraud all over the place. The government itself, the Biden government, said in September before leaving office, we figure over $500 billion a year, 500 and some odd billion a year in fraudulent and wasted spending going to places we can't track or that don't deserve it in the Social Security and I think Medicare programs. So if you could just whack at that, suddenly you'd be half the way to the $1 trillion cuts they're trying to get. But again, why should that effort lead to these protests and these violent protests?
Right, let's watch. I want to show you this clip. Cut 6 was early in the week. Elon was on with Sean Hannity, and what would he have to say about these protests?
I have to ask, why? Why do I see people like I woke up this morning and saw that Teslas were put ablaze in one of your dealerships in Vegas? I've seen this happen all over the country. Bullets are being fired. Charging stations are put ablaze. Teslas are being put ablaze. You have experienced assassination, threats of assassination for you and your family. What have you done that warrants this? Because I see nothing that you have done except help our country.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me that there's this level of really hatred and violence from the left. I always thought the left, or Democrats, were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars, they're firebombing dealerships, they're firing bullets into dealerships, they're just, smashing up Teslas. Tesla is a peaceful company. We've never done anything harmful. I've never done anything harmful. I've only done productive things. So I think we just have a deranged, there's some kind of mental.
Yeah, he was just about to say it then. Let me get your final thoughts. And Elon was just about to say, I think we have a crazy mental illness here, let me get your final thoughts on Elon's thoughts on Hannity.
Yeah, that woke mind virus is spreading, and now it's just in revolt because of everything that's happening. But the reason these protesters are unafraid of being arrested, I believe, because many of them are the same people with Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ radicals, Antifa, who were setting fire to cities and killing something like 24 or more police officers in the summer riots of 2020 and never paid a price for it. If they were arrested at all, they were released the next day. They had the vice president, Kamala Harris, saying, hey, raise money for him to get him out on bond. And so they never paid a price. They were like unruly kids who needed to be disciplined.
If you're never punished by your parents, you'll keep doing over and over and over again. Dennis, thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
A word from our partner over at Hotel Planner. It has a cutting-edge hotel booking platform that's easy to navigate, is AI-powered, and has over 1.4 million global properties available across all travel categories. And they've been in the business for more than 20 years. If you call their reservation line, you'll speak to a real-life human, not a chatbot. Hotel Planner, high-tech, high-touch. Go to Hotel Planner today and discover the world. Thank David for joining us in the set, Fran and Erin, and doing a great job in the control room, Katie Zachariah for joining us, and Cindy Gross and Dennis Neal. Thank you all, and we'll see you next on Media Exposed.
This special Passover holy day is of urgent importance. This is our last chance to help save thousands of Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union today.
She is a Holocaust survivor who has seen far more evil than any human being should endure. Have you eaten this morning?
I ate the carrot, and this is what she ate in 2 days. Please pray for me.
We bring that still, soft voice of God to these abandoned Holocaust survivors.
This Passover,
you will receive God's blessing when you bless these children of Israel. Your urgently needed gift of only $25 will help rush a food box packed full of life-saving essentials to feed an elderly Jewish person struggling to survive.
Vavara is 89 years old and she's completely blind and alone.
I am blind, but I am alive, and I would eat matzah again. Thank you.